And of a cologne coming out called CK, and it's Cloud Kingdom. You feel very like misty. There's purple stuff everywhere that goes out. Yes, I do mean Cloud. Thank you so much, NASL sound guy, for. Why is everyone kind of trying to be very explicit? Like, oh, I get it. He's making fun of Calvin Klein. Okay, whatever.
I was just gonna let you run with it, man.
I know, but this.
And here's the really funny thing: if you just hadn't addressed the NASL sound guy, then no one would have known.
I'm officially turning down everyone, and just listening to the game.
As you should. Cloud Kingdom is the map, and we have down in the bottom left-hand corner of Cloud Kingdom the red Zerg player. TSL symbol. His opponent up in the top right, the blue Zerg representing Team Western Wolves, the Swede, countrymen of StarCraft greats like Naniwa, Thorzane, Jinro, Moro, perhaps the greatest of them all, Bishu. Neighbor to the best Protoss player of all time, Elfie. It is Western Wolves, sort of.
I do think Sweden is just such an awesome country for esports, man. I just, whenever I see Stockholm or I see like a DreamHack there, I see all the players that are coming out.
Yeah.
It's like whenever you see a tournament, and this, I say this in the most respectful way possible, just because in light of Sweden, when you see a bunch of like tournaments that are hosted in a certain country that people have qualifiers for, like ESWC or like Assembly in like Finland or something like that, you see a bunch of players are like, okay, you know, I never heard of these guys. Are they really going to be doing anything? And they don't really get too far in the tournament. But then when you see like an open tournament in Sweden, you always see a bunch of these guys like, oh, this guy could go far because he's a pretty good player. Oh, this guy, oh, Sortof can go. Oh, Moro could go far. And then you realize a lot of Sweden has just a stacked tournament, even if it's just an open.
You really have to take your hat off to DreamHack because they have built the esports culture in Sweden. The largest LAN party in the world, it was started back in maybe the late 80s.
That Lauren's dad even attended.
Maybe. Certainly it was around throughout the 90s. Hosted at one point more than 10,000 participants connected to the same local area network.
Must have been the most smelly room in the entire world, man, at one point.
Swedish people are very hygienic.
That's true, but it's not only Swedish people, right? There's like a bunch of people internationally.
You're right. A lot of people commute to DreamHack from all throughout Europe. It's a massive, massive event. They've been doing it for years now, and it's so much so that the Swedish government recognizes DreamHack as a cultural event. So it's just kind of been embedded in the society there, and it's allowed for the esports scene to develop very nicely in Sweden. So the people that run DreamHack, Robert Olin and his team, are just fantastic, fantastic for esports. And they really deserve to be applauded.
I can't wait for the first candidate to ever run on the platform that he wants to like nationalize esports in the USA.
Not sure that that would be the best platform for political office, but I would vote for that guy.
One of the platforms.
I would vote for that guy.
By then, he's also pro hover cars.
I might disagree with every one of his other political views, but if he wants to nationalize esports, then he's my guy.
Well, Ben, one can dream, man. Who knows? Who knows what the world will look like in 20 years? But we do see that StarCraft is here, and so now it's the present. We are on Cloud Kingdom once again. Early Baneling Nest, although Symbol is making a lot of Zerglings. 14. He could be suspecting an incoming rush from Symbol.
I think we're going to see some aggression out of Symbol. Zergling Baneling aggression. We saw the macro game. We saw Sortof try to be the aggressor. Now this time Symbol's going to be the guy that tries to pour on the Baneling pressure. And he's going to be pushing out right across the map. The Baneling Nest of Sortof is a little bit late. He's made 10 more drones than his opponent. That's a lot of larvae not committed to units. Sortof's in some trouble, Dan.
Yeah, Sortof's in a lot of trouble. And you can see Symbol making 7 Banelings while pressuring.
Crawlers. Oh no! This is actually very, very bad news for Sortof. Lings are going to come right here into the natural. Immediately they'll kill a queen. Those drones should just be pulled, I think.
The drone's trying to escape before the Banelings getting there. Banelings don't manage to detonate there, but it's okay because Symbol now has
transfuse energy. We need some good micro. That Baneling in the back is going to want to squeeze through if possible, but transfuse! Not going to happen. Lings do stream down, and miraculously, sort of doesn't take game-ending damage there. He's actually only 5 drones behind after that little poke. Did lose 3 queens, though. All 3 of his queens, which is very painful.
That stings a lot, and Symbol now has a huge amount of production. Now, Symbol does have to worry about the imminent counterattack. This is almost a mirror of the Ragnarok attack, right, with the revival, and whether or not they're able to withhold another speeding attack. But Symbol's really good with his bailing positioning. He always seems to get pretty good detonations. Very risky play from Sortof. Oh, man, that one bailing almost killed off an entire pack of Zerglings, but that gamble paid off.
Yeah, great Ling Micro from Sortof here. He's doing some fantastic damage, picking off spine crawlers, making drones run, and Sortof is really bringing himself back into this game just with this this counter pressure. He's done a great job. While he was attacking, he was droning up back at home. So economically, we can see that Sortof actually has a small worker lead now.
Yes, 34 to, well, 34, but it was a small little lead, and
players
it's still
at the exact same time too.
Yeah.
Dan, you said who knows what the world's going to be like 20 years from now, and it made me wonder if you've seen the movie Demolition Man. With
Ben,
Wesley Snipes.
if it was made before 2000 and
with Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone.
If it was made before 2003, probably not.
Came out in the early 90s.
So the answer is probably not.
And it was a story of a cop and a convict who were both a little bit crazy. They were wild men. They got in some trouble, and they were, instead of being thrown in prison, they were cryogenically frozen for 40 years.
Huh. And then they appear in the world after.
And then they reappear in the world in like 2030.
Wow.
Which is not so far from now.
That is pretty crazy. Although I wonder if they realized how much the world has changed, even just from the 90s with the internet revolutionizing everything.
I know, but like they had flying cars and stuff. I don't think we're gonna have. I don't think we're gonna have flying cars in 18 years.
Why is that like the definition of futuristic?
I don't know,
like
man. I think you really have to blame the Jetsons.
Every single future thing.
You have seen the Jetsons, right?
Yes, the Jetsons, Futurama. I don't know. It's just everyone says that's like the benchmark of that we've made it. Congratulations, we are in a new era of technology because our cars can get 2 feet off the ground.
The other side of that argument,
it still requires gas to move.
The other side of that argument is that the future will be here when we like have post-apocalyptic nuclear war.
Yeah, well, I prefer flying cars over that.
I think that's I think maybe that's why, because you know you have the happy version and the not so happy version.
That's true. With robots that can talk to you and store anything inside their stomach.
Yep, Rosie.
I was talking about Bender, but Rosie's also an appropriate robot too. That's another thing, man. I'm not too big on the robots being in part of our human society.
Why?
Just because it's talking to a robot is what everyone doesn't want, right? Isn't the whole idea of freedom is that you don't become a robot, and yet we're trying to incorporate them into our society?
We're not trying to become robots.
Yeah, but we're giving life to robots, so it's like it's very contradictory, Ben.
I don't think so, Dan.
This has become a big philosophy.
I think it's very black and white.
I think StarCraft is the only thing black and white right now. Is we see a third base going up for Sortof, but it almost was forced to cancel. Very nice defense from Sortof. Symbol got his up much earlier than his opponent, but it is passive for a while, especially since both players are getting out there in early infestor tech.
This particular game of StarCraft is nothing but gray area, as you can't really say one player is leading. It's 96 supply to 98 supply, 50 harvesters to 55 harvesters or so. Upgrades, tech, all so incredibly even, so no player with a real distinguishable advantage. And if either player were to attack, by the time he reached the other side of the map, his opponent would have more than enough stuff to defend with. So super even game right here.
And that's really nice for Sortof, because, you know, like mentally you won the first game and you felt like you could have closed it out, and then Symbol has the momentum, but now they're able to kind of equalize things despite taking early losses on the queens. Very nice spot, and I'm just curious to see who can take the better initiative from this point on.
Something else that's really nice for Sortof is Symbol's not playing Muta this time, so Sortof not going to be punished for having 20 Overlords out on the map. Yeah. He's got complete vision of everything. He sees these roaches pushing out, and he should, even though he's only got 14 roaches to 23, he does have infestors out, so he should be able to position himself in a favorable enough spot that he doesn't really take any damage from this attack.
Symbol might just poke in very calmly. Oh, and Roach run by to try to pick off the Infestor. Nice. Nice trade. He's going to force some units off of as well. Ooh, Symbol trying to really force his opponent to make really bad decisions, but Sortof's been able to kind of salvage things together.
Sortof is doing a good job of keeping track. Loses a couple of queens, which is a little sloppy, a little bit painful, but ultimately nothing that he won't recover from, and even walks out of that with a small supply lead. So still, the state of the game virtually even. 66 drones to 72. Both players with adequate Roach Infestor count and on even bases. So virtually identical. And this is the point where the Hydra dens go down. Stable on Roach Infestor. Time to add Hydra.
It's one thing I learned today, Ben. And, I mean, to be honest, whenever I play ZVZ, I just get all in so often on Heart of the Swarm. It's like, man, I want to play some Swarm hosts. I want to play maybe some Speed Hydras, maybe to see how things work out. But no, it seems like every Zerg I meet on Heart of the Swarm ladder, I just get all in.
I've been just doing Baneling all-ins on Heart of the Swarm. I don't really.
Ben, if I play, oh gosh, doesn't that feel like you defeat the purpose?
You know, I want to experiment with the new units in the other matchups.
Yeah, that's true.
ZVZ, I think, is the least changed matchup in Heart of the Swarm.
Really? I feel like Protoss versus Terran is kind of. Because it's like you still really can't go Stargate as Protoss, and Terran doesn't really change from Bio because Mech's not that great.
You're going to see a lot of Tempest in Heart of the Swarm. You're going to see a lot of Widow Mines in Heart of the Swarm.
That's true. Widow Mines are very nice. Well, we'll see how things pan out for the rest of this game at least. 4th base is going up. Cloud Kingdom, a map that's sort of like Daybreak in the sense that it's hard to attack, but even more so because of the ramps. But then that also allows people to think like, how should I attack? You know, they send packs of roaches everywhere. That's where I was referencing one of the most fun ZVZs I've seen in a while, which was Galaxy versus Zenio, where it's small packs like this that sort of is attacking the 4th base. You just poke in and out, and all of a sudden you realize good control, multitasking is really strong on a map like Cloud Kingdom because you just avoid the main chokes and you just go and circumvent the armies.
That's right. Both players with really, really strong armies right now. If we look at the units tab, we can see the counts are pretty even. A couple more Infestors out for Sortof, a couple more Roaches and Hydras out for Symbol, but otherwise almost completely even. 69 drones to 70. These guys so evenly matched and playing such similar strategies, playing such similar styles. Interestingly, Symbol's going to go up to Hive, and I think that's the first time we've seen that in this series.
Let's be very careful. The Infestors are out in front. He catches a huge amount of the Infestors.
That's gonna hurt.
And that will hurt Sortof significantly. He's forced to shoot out a bunch of Infested Terrans to kind of buy time, as some of the Infestors will escape, but a couple will get picked off. Symbol, nice win there.
Yeah, but at the same time, Sortof is throwing all of his units into the natural in the 3rd base of Symbol. So while Symbol kind of wins the military fight, he loses a base. He's going to lose some drones. He's going to lose more production up in his main. This Hive is probably going to get sniped off. There's no way Sortof's going to be able to get back in time. And yes, Sortof will lose every one of these units eventually, but you have to wonder, is he doing enough damage to make it worthwhile? There's no Hive tech. There's going to be no Hive upgrades. This is going to be tough because Symbol does have a large swell of units. He's going to go up significantly in army supply. He's about 40 army supply ahead right now. But Sortof has got time. He's got 13 Hydras about to spawn. He's got good injects. He's going to be able to make another big round of units, and I think he's going to be pretty even with his opponent when they do finally fight again. Also, critically, he kept most of those Infestors alive because Symbol disengaged to go back and defend his main base.
Also, on top of that, Ben, Sortof has +2 while his opponent has +1. So
and he can't get +2 now because he lost his Hive.
Yeah. He doesn't have, his layer is only about 1/3 of the way done, so that's going to allow Sortof to have a really strong battle confrontation power, but a lot of Infested Terrans coming out from Symbol, and he's locking down the Hydras. He's got it way before his opponent, and Symbol might be able to pull it out, but I mean the +2 is very strong as Sortof cleans up one area of the battlefield and working on the other one.
I think actually this is going to go pretty well for Sortof. It's a big win. Symbol supply drops heavily. He's down to 130 supply. Sortof at up over 180. And the Swede looking really good here on Cloud Kingdom is going to continue to push forward and now has a prime opportunity to take out this 4th expansion, one of the most important mining bases that Symbol possesses right now.
Oh, nice run by with the Roaches, though, to pick off some of the workers in the top right. He also burrows, and I think sort of just forgot about them.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't see him. They must be gone.
That's often what happens. You move over there to deal with something, and you look away, and then when you look back, they're gone. So you're like, all right, I dealt with it. Let's move on. So roaches will prove to be pesky in the back of the main base. Eventually, Symbol has maxed out once more, so he is looking more poised to defend than he just was, but I don't think he's going to make any effort to save this hatchery. Sortof's got to be careful not to get too clumped up at the base of this ramp.
Yeah, you're right, and I think that Symbol is slowly but surely going to get choked out here, although Symbol still does have a strong standing army. And I mean, you can't underestimate the power of the geography on Cloud Kingdom. Symbol now unburrowing those roaches, but sort of actually had a couple of roaches waiting for it. So again, sort of playing very well, able to defend on multiple fronts. Another roach run by into the 4th base, but Symbol also has to defend the main ramp, getting flanked from 2 different sides. But Sortof is not engaging with all of his army. Some of them were attacking Overlords, so Symbol's had all of his units usually attacking. It may not matter though, just because of the raw amount of damage that Sortof has.
Like, this is actually going to be a pretty even exchange, maybe even a small win for Sortof, as the Roach Hydra with the superior upgrades proving to be just too much for Symbol to handle. And critically, all of his unit-producing tech is in this base. Oh, great fungal there, catching all the Roach Hydra. So he will stabilize. He will stay alive.
Symbol be able to stabilize during that entire time and kill off the 4th base from Sortof. Sortof had like 3 roaches there to defend, but he still wasn't able to basically hold it off. And all of a sudden, it's not like Sortof's economy is thriving either. Both players taking their 4th base. Symbol did save most of his infestors too. It's 8 infestors to 8 infestors, 24 roaches to 32. Sortof still has a macro advantage in terms of the units, and he does have the upgrade advantage, but Symbol's been able to really stay relevant in this game, Ben.
Oh, very clumped up is Sortof right now. There's a lot of infestors with a lot of energy, but he does not want to overcommit right now, realizing that a lost fight would be a lost game at this point.
Oh, Symbol dropping the Infestarians a little bit late.
But
a lot
great
of these are going to die.
by Sortof, and this is going to be a crushing win for Sortof in the middle of the map. Symbol dipping down to just 120 supply now. Sortof still at around 170, going to continue pushing forward. These infestors are out of energy. He cannot drop any sort of defensive fungals. And, oh, Sortof, if you go up that ramp, I think you win the game right now. Of course, he does not know what we know, and instead just wants to continue to deny expansions. Man. Also, not a wrong decision.
Yeah, Sortof sees the 4th base was canceled. Symbol running out of options. He doesn't really have the ability to section off too many units and try to counterattack because he needs more strength in his standing army. And he doesn't even have energy on his infestors. He's constantly having to fight at that disadvantage, as Sortof does have a couple more fungals left. And that energy advantage is very big. Symbol trying to again go for a run by.
Sortof is going to go to win this game right now. Not much infested energy at all for Symbol. And Sortof with lots of energy, with lots of units, is going to come pressing up this ramp. You're coming in from just about every angle possible. And I think this is going to do it. Sortof, the Swede, looks like he will take out the Korean Zerg. GG gets called. Great play from Sortof.
Wow.
And
awesome play.
Another Korean bites the dust. How about them apples?
Sort of in an NASL off-season qualifier was slaying Koreans left and right. Fell just a little bit short of qualifying to players like Arthur and Dark, but man, this guy doing very well online.
He will go on to play against Apocalypse, if I'm not mistaken. And that is going to be our next game.
Right.
Last map brought to you guys by Cooler Master. Fine line of gaming peripherals, including keyboards, mice, cases, and more. All that available for you at coolermaster-usa.com. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.